So this video basically is on Pokemon, you know, and I'm gonna talk about the recent Pokemon games that I have played. So the recent games that I played was let's see, was Pokemon Y, and I have that in the closet. And it was strange because I was really big into Pokemon when I was young, like super into it to the point where I could tell you like pretty much every character. I could name almost every Pokemon. I could tell you everything from every region up into the point of what I was playing. So I could tell you, what was it? Johto, Kanto, Hoenn, Sinnoh, and Unova. That's how far I was because I played Pokemon up until I was like, I think I was like 15, and then I just kind of stopped playing it. And I remember I had got Omega Ruby for my 2DS, and I had got Pokemon Y, and I had stopped at Pokemon. Is it Pokemon Black 2 that I have in there? I'm pretty sure it's Pokemon Black 2 that I have in there. But I had stopped at that. But it's like the last games that I had gotten was Omega Ruby and Pokemon Y. And for some reason, it was like the charge to be obsessed with Pokemon was over when it comes to the video games. It was like for whatever reason, I was just like, I wasn't feeling them. I remember turning on Pokemon, what was it? I had Pokemon Moon too. I think I got all three of them during Christmas time. Yeah. But I remember turning Pokemon Moon on and being really bored for some reason. I don't know why I was bored because I had had the drive to play Pokemon games literally from when I was like 8 years old up into the age of like 15, 16. To the point where I used to go to GameStop. I used to literally sell all my old games to get the newest Pokemon game and get, to be able to play it. I remember going countless times. I remember my friend told me about it. And it's crazy because I was like one of the only kids that was actually doing that back in the day that I knew. I remember the first time I did it, I sold all my PlayStation games because my PlayStation 2 had gotten stolen. So I just had a whole bunch of PlayStation 2 games that I didn't play because I didn't have a PlayStation 2 and nobody bought me a PlayStation 2. So I ended up selling those games. I ended up selling my old Game Boy games, and I ended up buying myself a DS because GameStop used to have this thing where if you give them an old Game Boy, they would give you a DS for like half price or something like that. So I remember I gave them a bunch of games, and I think I gave them. Did I give them a broken Game Boy, or did I end up just having enough money? Oh, what it was is I got the cheapest DS. They had like a $60 DS, and they had one that was like $90. And I ended up getting this white DS, and I ended up charging it for like an hour or two, and it didn't work. Like I paid $60 and it was broken. So my friend's mom went and took me back, and they ended up giving me the other DS, which was like $90, because that was like the only one they had, and it was like the Guitar Hero DS or Rock Band DS. I think it was Guitar Hero. It was like a silver. It was a black DS, but it was silver at the top. And it's funny, I'm talking about my DS, and I literally have one of them right here because I've had so many of these dang things. Oh, I really need to wipe it off. Do I have any wipes? I don't have any wipes in there. I'm going to wipe it off later. But this is like the recent DS Lite I bought myself, I believe. I believe I bought this myself. But I remember the original one that I got was, I had an original DS, and it was all black. That one got stolen. And then I sold all my stuff at GameStop, and then ended up getting a white DS that was just like this. It was all white, and it was broken. Then my friend's mom took me. I went there again, gave it to him. They gave me the Guitar Hero DS, and I ended up playing that one. And it was funny because basically I ended up doing all of that because this kid at my school gave me Pokemon Pearl, and what he did is he like scratched the back of it. To try to make it like broken and give it to me as like a joke, but the game actually played. So he basically played himself because he thought he was like doing some joke. It was a stupid thing that kids used to do back in the day. They used to give me free shit and then would like try to laugh at me. I'm like, bro, you gave me a $40 game for free. I didn't have to buy it. Do you know how amazing that is? And it worked perfectly. There was nothing wrong with it. You just scratched it and thought it was broken. But he was like this long-haired white kid who did that. He had like brown hair or whatever. All the girls thought he was cute or whatever. Because he had like that whole long hair in the face kind of thing going on. But yeah, he ended up doing that, and I ended up playing that Pearl to death. And I remember, I remember I was kind of low key cheating because I had an Arceus and it was hacked. Like somebody gave it to me and traded it to me. There was like this kid who had an action replay, and he traded it to me. So I had a hacked Arceus throughout the whole game, or Arceus, whatever you want to call it. I've heard people say it both ways. It's just like the whole Rayquaza debate. But yeah, I remember doing that, and I had the most generic team like everybody else. I had Luxray, Staraptor, Empoleon. What else did I have? I didn't have the Lucario. I know everybody used the Lucario. I didn't have the Lucario. I can't remember. I can't remember the whole team. Staraptor, Empoleon, Arceus. Damn, I can't remember. I can't remember the full team. But I had 6 Pokemon. I just can't remember Gastrodon, the snail one, and it was pink. What else did I have? Damn, I can't remember. But yeah, Luxray, Staraptor, Gastrodon, Empoleon, Arceus. I think there was like one more, but I can't remember. That was like my original team. And I'm not gonna lie, the Luxray was garbage because it always would die in one hit, like every single time. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, this is the most wasteful Pokemon. I hate Luxray because it looks so freaking cool, but it literally, the one I had died in one hit every single time. I'm like, how is, bro? Like, I don't know if there was like some broken thing in the game, but it literally would, like, every time it would reverse a Pokemon, it would be a critical hit every single time. The other Pokemon would always get a critical hit. It used to like piss me off. I'm like, bro, is this game broken? They're like every single time it'd be like dun 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 dun, it'd be critical hit, and it would die. And I'm like, bro, like come on, bro. I used to feel like it was just a waste of a Pokemon. It was just a waste of a slot because it would die so much. But I remember putting so many hours into that game, and I had that game, and then I had Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, and Leaf Green, and Fire Red. I had all of the Game Boy games. That were like the mainstream ones, and then I had Red, Blue, Yellow. I had Crystal, Gold, and Silver. I had the Pokemon trading card game for Game Boy Color. I still don't know what happened to that game because it was kind of fun, and I had gotten all of those games. Well, I got like half of them from this Chinese kid. No, Korean kid, because I ended up trading him all my Game Boy games for it. So I gave him Zelda: A Link in the Past, Sonic Advance 3. I still missed the Sonic Advance 3. But I just wanted new games. But Sonic Advance 3, Zelda: A Link in the Past, Super Mario Brothers, and I gave him 2 copies of it. They were literally the same game. Because when I was like a little kid, when I was like 6 years old, I had Super Mario Brothers, and then I wanted another Super Mario game, but I didn't know they were the same game. But I was like 6, 7 years old, so I didn't notice. And then I gave him like this Yu-Gi-Oh card shuffle game, because all the kids were obsessed with Yu-Gi-Oh back in the day. Back when I was young, kids were obsessed with Bakugan, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Pokemon, and kind of Beyblade. But Beyblade was when I was like really young. When I was like 6 years old, people loved Beyblade. But yeah, I remember having all those games. But I got the yellow version from him. I have 2 copies of yellow, and I still have them. I have 2 copies of yellow that he gave me. He gave me a copy of red. He gave me a copy of blue, and that's the games he gave me. And the yellow he gave me didn't have a top to it. So it was like I was playing the game and there was no top to it, but then he ended up finding it and giving it to me. And then there was this guinea pig lady. That's what we called her, the guinea pig lady. And it was like this 30-year-old girl. Like, she looked like a girl, but she was like 30. And her whole room was full of anime stuff. She had a whole bunch of anime stuff, and I remember like everybody used to buy stuff from her because her mom was like, "Nah, you need to buy that stuff." And she had guinea pigs that were on the floor in her house. So I remember she gave me an action replay for free. I remember she showed me a Ranma 1/2 because she had it on DVD, and she ended up giving me gold version for like $7. It didn't save, but I was just happy to have it. And then I had this friend, this like Mexican friend. He had silver and gold, and I believe he gave me both. He gave me his silver and gold because I don't know what happened to my gold. I had gold version myself, but it didn't have the sticker on the front, so you didn't see hello on the front. It was just gold, and that was it. I don't know what happened to it, but I played that game like continuously, like religiously, and I kept the video game on because it did not save. The internal battery had ran dry. Y'all already know that struggle that us Pokemon people have. Um, but he ended up giving me his silver version, and that silver version was the weirdest game because sometimes it would save and sometimes it wouldn't save. It was hella weird. It was like a luck of the gamble kind of thing. And then he gave me his what's it called? He gave me his crystal version, and I think he gave me his gold version. I think he gave me all three. Yeah. So I ended up getting them from him, and then I ended up getting Sapphire from this Mexican kid because I traded him Groudon Star, the Pokemon card, for Sapphire, and I didn't really want to do it, but my friend was like, "Just do it, bro." He's like, "You're getting a video game for a freaking piece of paper. Why would you not do it?" And I was like, "All right, I'll do it." And then I ended up doing it, and it was worth it. So I had Sapphire, and then Ruby. Who did I get Ruby from? Somebody gave me Ruby. I don't know where did I get Ruby from because I didn't buy it. Where the hell did I get that Pokemon Ruby from? I don't know where I got it from, but I ended up giving that to the Mexican homie that gave me his gold version for free and gave me his silver version for free. I let his little brother borrow it, and then I asked them for it back like a year later, and they were like, "We don't know where it's at. Like we don't like they lost it." I'm like, "Where did y'all put it, bro? You just lost my game? What the fuck?" That shit made me mad. And then I had Emerald version. I don't know who. I think maybe I got Emerald from the Chinese kid. I mean the Korean kid. Why do I keep calling him Chinese? I think I might have got it from the Korean kid. I'm thinking because he gave me other stuff too. He gave me Game Boy to GameCube connector, which I freaking love that because I used to have. I got Pokemon XD Gala Darkness and Pokemon Coliseum. I still have those two, and I went and bought Pokemon Coliseum. And just like the DS, the copy of Pokemon Coliseum that I had didn't work and was broken, so I had to go back and get another copy. And there was only two copies in the store, so I got that other copy. And then Pokemon Gale of Darkness, my white friend that I had, we used to spend the night at his house all the time. He ended up giving me his Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness because he said it was boring. And there was like this weird kind of thing with the kids in my apartment complex where one day they would like Pokemon and then the next day they would say it was for little kids and I didn't give a shit. I was like, "Bro, I'll take your Pokemon stuff if you don't want it." But yeah, he ended up giving it to me for free and I thought that was crazy. I remember taking that home and playing it for hours. And then I bought Leaf Green. No, my grandma bought Leaf Green. And then Fire Red, I don't know who gave me that one. I can't remember. But I still had the Fire Red, but the Fire Red doesn't work. But I ended up trading the Leaf Green in and the Sapphire in. And I still have the Emerald, but the Emerald doesn't work. But I ended up trading those two in another game to get, I believe, to get Pokemon Black, I believe. And I ended up getting Pokemon Black like a year after it came out. But I remember at a time, I told all of this basically just to say that I remember at a time where I had stopped liking Pokemon. And that was when, it wasn't like I didn't stop liking the cards. It was like I had stopped liking playing the video games. There was just like this weird kind of drought I went through where I just was not into it. I don't know why. And I wasn't into it for like 5 years. And then eventually, probably like 2 years ago, and I was like 20, I'm 26 now, I think I was like 24 at the time. I ended up getting a Switch and playing Sword and Shield. And it's funny because a lot of people talk mess about Sword and Shield, but both of those games got me back into Pokemon like really heavy. Because the games are, to me personally, Sword and Shield are fun as hell. I'm like, people be giving them bad reviews, saying that they're trash, saying that they're boring, wishing that the open world looked better, saying that the games are lazy and all stuff. I'm gonna keep it real with y'all, bro. I love Pokemon Sword and Shield. I do. With all of its flaws, its glitches, whatever. I had the time of my life playing it. It was fun as hell. I liked the fact that I got to get a lot of the Pokemon that I liked in this game. Like for example, Haxorus. I get to have Haxorus, bro. Hydreigon. What else do I have? Dragonite. I love my dragons. Glaceon is my favorite Pokemon of all time. And I just was happy that I had a game where I could just play all of. I can. I was happy to have a Pokemon game where I could catch some of the Pokemon I really like. Even though I do know that this game took out a lot of Pokemon, and these games were technically $90 if you wanted the full experience. If you wanted the DLC, and I paid $90 for one of them. The other one I have not bought the DLC for. Um, I bought the DLC for what was it? Sword. I didn't buy the DLC for Shield. Because I feel like I don't really need it. It just feels extra. I mean, I still could go and pay the money on the store or whatever, I believe. But yeah, I really enjoyed these games and played them for hours. And these were some of the games that got me back into it, to where I was raising Pokemon up to level 100. Like some of my Pokemon are level 100s. I think I have like a box full of level 100s that I actually raised up myself. My first couple of level 100s though that I had, it was on Pokemon Black. I had a Volcarona level 100 and a Hydreigon level 100 because I versed the Elite Four like 50 times, and then I had a Haxorus. I think it was like level 70 or something. Because you end up restarting the game, so I don't have those two Pokemon no more. But I still have Pokemon Black, and then Pokemon Black 2. And then I got the little 401 cartridge where I have all the games on it now. So it's just like, if I really want to play Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Black, White, Black 2, White 2, I could just play them on there. Yeah, but Sword and Shield got me back into Pokemon, and it actually made me go back and play some of the Pokemon games that I have that I didn't play. It made me go back and play Omega Ruby. It made me go back and play Pokemon Y. Pokemon Moon I have not played yet, so I'm kind of inexperienced of knowing what happens in that game. But it really did light my fire again when it comes to Pokemon. And then eventually I'm going to buy Legends of Arceus, Violet and Scarlet. I had, what's crazy? What makes me mad is I had Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Is that what it's called? Shining Pearl? I think it's Shiny Pearl. I had both of them, but I ended up leaving one of them at the freaking airport when I moved by accident, I believe. Because I believed it was at my grandma's house. Cause I remember having both of them when I left my grandma's house. And I remember taking all my video games out at the airport to try to make room, because I just had this little bag, because we could only bring this little bag on there. And I remember putting them all back in the bag, but that one I must have just left just sitting on that couch. And it was crazy because I paid $100 to get both of them, and I ended up doing that. But I still have Shiny Pearl up there, but I don't have the case, and I'm just like, damn, that's crazy. But yeah, most definitely Sword and Shield ignited, my fire again to play Pokemon games again. But I always have watched the anime. Like the anime I've watched since I was probably like 3 or 4 years old. I always go back and watch the anime because it's just one of my favorites. Mostly the Indigo League and the Orange Islands and the Johto Journeys. I love all 3 of those freaking seasons. Those are some of my favorite ones. Master Quest is good. Advanced Battle is good. Battle Frontier is good. Pokemon Diamond and Pearl is good. Galactic Battles is good. Pokemon Black and White is good. For a while, I was watching Pokemon Black and White, but nothing beats the original 3 seasons. Johto Journeys, Orange Islands, and Indigo League. Those are some of my favorite ones. Has some of my personal favorite characters. I don't know why, but I'm a big Richie fan for some reason. I just think he looks cool because he looks like Ash a little bit, and he kind of has similar Pokemon to Ash, so it just makes me think he's really cool for some reason. I don't know why. It's like as a kid, that was just cool to see another character that was similar to the main character. I don't know why, but I do really like Richie. I'm a big Richie fan, and I like Sparky, his Pikachu that has a little bang on its head or whatever. And then I believe his what was it? His Butterfree is called Happy, and then what was this Charmander called Zippo, I think. They called it I think Charmander was Zippo, Butterfree was Happy, and then his Pikachu was Sparky. I believe those are the names he had for him. Which I don't know why. I just thought he was cool. I was like, this nigga's cool. You know, it was a good parallel to Ash, just to see a person who has the same Pokemon as him, um, but is a little nicer. Richie's a little bit nicer than Ash. And then it was always sad when like Gary lost, and Ash is like Gary, and then Gary's like, you know, like it's all good. That like made me sad as a kid. I was like, Gary lost. Gary, he's our man. Like what? If he can't do it, no one can. Like my nigga Gary lost, bro. That was always mind blowing to me, bro, because he had some of the best Pokemon for the original Kanto region. He had like, what was it? Nidoking, Arcanine, Blastoise. His Eevee was OP as hell, even though we only seen it I think like once. But it was hella strong. And then it ends up later on evolving to Umbreon. It's funny because for the longest time I thought his starter was the Eevee, because in Pokemon Yellow his starter is Eevee. And then because I always forget about his Squirtle, bro. Like I don't know why I always forget about Squirtle. But it's like, bro, no, he had Squirtle. Squirtle was his starter, but I always think it was Eevee for some reason. It's weird. Even though I know he has a Squirtle, I know he has the Blastoise. The second time to go to the Pokemon League, him and Ash go against each other, and it's like Blastoise against Charizard or whatever. But I always think like he didn't have a Squirtle. And it's like, no, nigga, he has a Squirtle. Like it's confirmed that was his starter. But I always think it's Eevee for some reason. And that's usually what happens if you sit there and play the video games a lot and don't really like pay attention to some of the stuff in the show. But I always think the show is funny because the show, I have a lot of things to say about the show, because I love that the show has so many extra like forests and caves and cities in it. It makes the region feel more vast in the TV show. Somebody said it was filler. I don't really consider that filler. Like you can't compare the video game to the anime. I don't think that's fair, because they're not gonna be able to put like a whole bunch of content in the video game, so it can be as big as the anime. But I always thought it was cool that the anime always had like 1,000 cities in it. Like they're always going to a new city. You know, Ash, Brock, and Misty are just like genuinely traveling around the world. I always loved the vibe of Pokemon, because Pokemon feels like a child's dream. It feels like something a child would just dream about and would endlessly be in a dream, and that's what they would dream about. And that's why I really like the whole theory of Ash being in a coma, even though it's really sad. It's like Ho put him in a coma and he made him fall asleep, and this whole story is just his dream. I always thought that was pretty cool, just because it's like, it feels like a child's dream when you're watching Pokemon. Two other shows that give me the same feeling is Adventure Time and One Piece. They feel like a child's dream too. But it's just the adventure aspect. All three of these shows have this sense of adventure, this sense of child innocence, this sense of child adventure, and going and doing all these crazy things with your friends, and just, you know, exploring mountains and caves, and, you know, finding all these mythical creatures, and, you know, fighting all these trainers when it comes to Pokemon, but finding all these mystical creatures when it comes to all three shows. You know, and just the adventure aspect of just going into different caves and dungeons, and it's just that sense of wonder that I really like. You know, and I like that there's I like how even though all three of them are like completely different shows, they all still feel like a child's dream, and they all still feel like they would be fun to explore. And the Pokemon world, to me, it would be the funnest to explore, because it would be the most safe, you know, to explore. When you compare it to Adventure Time and One Piece, and One Piece's world is kind of terrifying, and Adventure Time's world is kind of terrifying. There's such a big chance that you might get assaulted at Adventure Time's universe. It'd be like, bro, I'll go to the Pokemon universe, because at least in the Pokemon universe, you can get hit by a dang Rayquaza. It can hit you with Hyper Beam and you ain't dead. You still alive. You just fainted. That's all. You know. So there's that. You have like that extreme plot armor. even though people complain about the plot armor that Ash has and that Pikachu has, I feel like it's kind of a nitpick. You got to realize we're watching an anime show, so it's like you're gonna have some times where the writing is not in sync with the video games, and there's gonna be stuff that's just different in the anime compared to the video games. You know, because Ash's Pikachu is super powered in the Pokemon universe. It's basically like when he uses thunder powers, he basically goes Super Saiyan. So comparing him to like a normal Pikachu in the video game is kind of unfair in my opinion. And he's designed to be OP. That's just the whole point of Ash's Pikachu. Is just it's an overpowered little creature. You know, so it is what it is. And people always talk about how like the Pokemon in the actual anime be having like 6 or 7 moves. I remember in the Orange Islands they had Drake, who basically was like Lance. He had like the what did he have? He had Ditto, and he had Dragonite, and I can't remember the other Pokemon he had. But he had Ditto and Dragonite, and I remember his Dragonite had like 6 or 7 moves. But it's like, of course, in the anime they're gonna have multiple moves. In the video game, they're not gonna do that because there's just too many decisions to give you. That's how I look at it. Like to let you use 6 or 7 or 8 different moves would be crazy in the video game. Even though there will be way more strategy. I feel like it might be more fun that way, to be honest. Um, but you know what? To be honest, I've always had this idea of thinking about what I think the perfect Pokemon game would be. And I always feel like I would take elements from every single Pokemon game, including the spin-offs and the non-canon ones, and the anime and the manga. I would take elements from all of that stuff and make like the perfect game. And it would be rated T for teen. And I know I'm not the only one who has said this, but I would just love for this imaginary game to have all of the regions in it, at least the ones that we've all went to, that Ash has went to in the anime. Have kind of some of the violence from the mangas, because I really love the violence from the mangas. I also count the Orange Islands as a region, and then also having the Sevi Islands right next to the Orange Islands would be really cool. And even the islands that are like from the movies, like the ones from like Pokemon 2000 with the Zapdos, Moltres, and Articuno, I would have that in the game. So you'd be able to explore those 3 places. You'd be able to explore every region. You'd be able to explore the Battle Frontier, and I would put the Battle Frontier just like in the middle of the ocean, instead of putting it in like weird places. Because remember when they had the Battle Frontier in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and it was in like the weirdest place, and it was literally an exact copy of the one from Pokemon Platinum, and it's like, so they just moved the Battle Frontier to the Johto region, and they just have the exact same people in it. Like what, they clones or something? Like what the hell? But I know it's just obvious. They just obviously did that just to give you more content. But still, I always thought that was like really random. But my ultimate Pokemon, for one, your Pokemon would follow you. You would have all those islands, like I said before. You would have the Zapdos, Moltres, and Articuno Island. You have the Sevi Islands, the Orange Islands. You would have the Johto region, Kanto region, Hoenn region, the Sinnoh region, the Unova region, the Sun and Moon region. I don't know the name. The Sword and Shield region, and even the new ones I haven't even played. Those would be in it. The regions from Pokemon X and Y. It would have all those. It would have the bug catching competition, because I really like that from Gold version. I used to just love that. It would have the subway battle trains that were in, I think it was Pokemon Black, the very Black and White, the first ones. And then it would have the Pokemon Black and White 2 area where, you know, there's that little championship thing where you can fight the champions and fight the gym leaders and the rivals. I would have that come back because that was freaking hard. I loved that. That would come back. You'd be able to catch every legendary recently in every game. And they're already kind of doing that. Like in Sword and Shield, they do that with the DLC. Let's see, what else? You'd be able to catch more mystical Pokemon like Celebi and Jirachi. I get really annoyed with the whole Celebi, Jirachi, and Mew thing, where it's like you need all these requirements just to get them. That annoys me. Like, just throw them in the game. But I have noticed that the new Diamond Pearl remakes actually allow you to get Jirachi and Mew if you have, I believe, if you have a save file of Sword and Shield. I believe you can get Mew and Jirachi on that game. I have not got them yet. Um, but like I said, the Pokemon will follow you. Um, you'll be able to choose if you want to customize your character and make them look however, or you can have them just at their base character design. You would have the skates or the bike, and you would have all the different bikes because there was like the what was it? There was like three different bikes. There was like the normal bike, and then there was the one that like bounces, and then there was the one that like you use to go up like muddy hills or whatever. You would have those all three of those bikes. What else? You would have the little, you know, how Sword and Shield has a little flying thing, so you don't even need to teach your Pokemon fly. You would have that to go to every region. You would fight every rival from every game. So you'd fight Red. You would fight what is it, Ethan. You would fight Blue. You would fight Brandon. Um, some of the rivals I don't know their names, so it's getting kind of shaky. But basically, every main character in every Pokemon game that you play as, you would fight. So Red, you know, and then all the rivals too. So Blue, and the ones from the anime, like freaking Paul. You would fight like Paul too. Um, but yeah, people like Silver. You would fight the Rainbow Team Rocket in the region. What else? What else do I like? Oh, you would get to pet your Pokemon, like the little thing that you have in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire and X and Y. We can pet your Pokemon. That would be back. You would also have the Pokemon Daycare, where you can play with your Pokemon. The Pokemon Camping, my bad. Pokemon Camping. You would have that, so you can camp with your Pokemon and pet them at the same time. You'd be able to do both. Um, what else? I'm thinking. They would obviously have to put some new areas in there, like even if it's just like some random stuff. Like, you know, you have Mount Silver, put Mount Crystal and Mount Gold. Add two more mountains. Um, but yeah, you would still fight Red in Mount Silver. That still would be really fun. You go to Mount Silver, you fight him. His Pokemon would be, you know, this pretty much the same as last time. His Pikachu would be level 88. It would have Volt Tackle and Iron Tail, and I believe it had what was it? Quick Attack. Um, I can't remember the other moves, but you would fight Red. By that time, your Pokemon would be, um, you know, 50s and 60s. Because there's this weird thing in Heart Gold Soul Silver where even though you fight hella trainers, your Pokemon are only like around level 50 when you fight Red. It's really weird. They're like super under level. But if you strategize good enough and you know how to play good enough, then you can still beat them. But yeah, there's like that level curve. But it would just be fun to be able to start in Kanto and just go through all the regions. That would be fun as hell. Um, and then, you know, it would do the same kind of thing it did last time, where you wouldn't fight like Giovanni until the end of the game as the last gym leader, and then after you beat him, it would be like you fight Blue outside the gym or something. It would have to be something fun like that. Like Blue comes into town, you fight him just for fun or something. Um, but yeah, then after you beat the Kanto region, you go to the Johto region, and you meet all the professors, and obviously they all give you a starter Pokemon if you want. You know, so you'd have your most people are gonna pick Charmander, so you'd have your Charizard level like 70 or whatever. You know what I said? I have to change what I said earlier because I said your Pokemon would be like level 50 or 60 when you got to Red. That's not true because you would start in the Kanto region. So your Pokemon would be like at the end of the game they would be like probably 50 or 60. And then when you go through all the Johto gym leaders, your Pokemon actually would probably be like the same level as Red's Pokemon would be. So you probably have your Charizard level 87 or something. Um, but yeah, every region you go to, you get the new starter. Um, so, you know, I would pick Totodile. And the game would allow you to switch back and forth. So, like, if you wanted to just start over again with level 5s and you can't touch your, like, level 100s until you beat that region and get to where the champion is, that would be pretty cool. You know, like, they put, like, a cap on there or something. And then once you beat, like, the 6 or 7 regions, when you get to, like, the final region, then it lets you just use all your Pokemon because they have like some new like evil bad guy or something, and the time would move like real time because you're constantly going to new regions. So it'd be like Team Rocket disbands again, and there's like a new team or something. That would be really cool. Team Fallout, Team Nighttime, or Team I don't know, Team Moonlight or something. It would be like the final team, and they're actually strong. Instead of them using Zubats over and over again, they actually have like a super strong team with strategies. I also wish they would make the AI just as good as Pokemon Clover's AI. That would be fire. Um, I feel like they should make getting shinies a little easier. Shinies should be like one in 5,000, I think. So it's like if you actually go through every region, you will eventually find at least a one shiny. Um, but yeah, of course, you go to that second, you go to that Johto region. They would lock your high level Pokemon and have you start over. They'd be, why don't you start over? Why don't you put your strong Pokemon with Professor Oak and start over? So they would have you do it just like Ash. And then you know what would be interesting if they actually lowered the levels of your Pokemon. So it'd be like, okay, your Pokemon's like level 50 or 60, right? When you get to, was it New Bark Town, when you get to Johto. But then they would lower the levels down back to like level 5 again. So you'd have like your level 5 Charizard with a level 5 Totodile and your level 5 Pidgeot. I guess it would be like that would just make it like better because that way it's not like you're just cheating and you're just going through every region with a level 100. I think that would be better if they did it like that. Instead of locking your Pokemon and you have to wait until you get a champion, it would be better if they just lowered the level back down to 5 again and you have to just keep restarting again. Um, it would make it cool too if your Pokemon still learn new moves when they do that, and it would be like special moves because I feel like they should make like more special moves and use more special moves. Yeah, I think that would be better. It'd be better if they just lowered the level back to 5 again, and then you have your Charizard level 5, your Pidgeot level 5, your Butterfree level 5, whatever your Pokemon party was to begin with. And then you would have your Totodile level 5. And then, of course, you wouldn't even need to get your Pokeballs, the 5 Pokeballs, because you would have enough money to just buy Ultra Balls and Great Balls. Um, and then you would just burst all the trainers again. And they should make it to where your levels go up faster, though, in the game. And make the opponent's Pokemon higher levels. So, like, they would lower your levels and make, like, your Charizard to be level 5 again. But it's like every trainer would have level 15s. They should do it like that. Like, every trainer has, like, level 10s or level 15s. And you gotta raise them back up. And then when you get them to level 15, like, the other trainers will have, like, level 20s or 24s. So by the time you get to, what is it, Faulkner, he would have, like, a Pidgeotto that's, like, level 30. And your Charizard would be, like, level 17. Just to make it to where it's, like, you're not, like, cheating. And then he would give, like, this Pidgeotto, like, actual, like, strategy moves. And like I said, the AI would be better. And then, yeah, that would be funner. It'd be funner if they did it like that. Um, and then I feel like it would be cooler, too, if the weather actually changed all the time. So, like, sometimes it'd be, like, snowing in Kanto. Sometimes it'd be snowing in Johto. Sometimes you'll just get random Pokemon eggs from different people. That would be really cool. So it's like you might be like in Johto, but then a person in Johto gives you like a freaking, they'll give you like a Pachirisu egg or something, or a Boniri egg, or like a Piplup egg or a Turtwig egg, something like, well, not the starters because you'll end up getting those when you get to Sinnoh, but it would be cool if they just gave you like some like really cool special Pokemon. So maybe like Dino, so you get like a Hydrodon at the end or something. That would be kind of fun. Um, what else, bro? What else is there to add? Um, I don't know. I can't think of anything else. Like this game would already be like a freaking like 10 out of 10 just because it has all the stuff that we like in the game. The Pokemon following you, the Pokemon daycare, being able to pet your Pokemon, being able to talk to your Pokemon that's following you. So it's like people already like that, and then being able to use the skates again or a bike, whatever you prefer, would be fun again. Being able to do the bug catching contest would be fun. Um, I feel like they should also take some stuff from the anime, like I said before, and throw that in there to add some sauce and throw some of the events from the manga in there. Like you would actually fight against like the Zapdos Moltres Articuno fusion. You would like fight against that. and then you would have an Eevee that would switch forms. So you can make it go from being an Eevee to a Jolteon, and then putting it back as an Eevee, then changing into a Flareon and a Vaporeon. Like, just be able to keep doing that. That'd be cool. Just to make the game more cool and interesting. And I never understood why they never did that, because they really could take all that stuff and just create like the ultimate game, and it would take like, it would take effort, but I feel like it wouldn't be that hard to do, and they probably wouldn't be able to put every region, but they have enough in memory to be able to put at least like 3 regions in one game. I feel like if they can put the DLC, they put multiple regions, because Crystal Gold and Silver had 2 regions, so by now they should be able to put like at least 4, at the least. But yeah, that would be so fun. I would play that Pokemon game all day, but they would have to make sure to just keep it at $60. Don't try to make it like $100 or something, because they probably would. Who would be the box art for that game? What would the name of the game be like when it comes to colors? Be like Pokemon Love Pink and Cherished Purple. Pokemon Heart Pink. Pokemon Love Pink. Pokemon Cherished Purple or something like that. I don't know. Pokemon Crimson Red. I don't know, bro. What would the names be? I'm really thinking. What colors is there left? Now they use letters too. Pokemon Palette, like Palette Town, and Pokemon New Bark Town. Nah, or just Pokemon Palette. They don't even need 2 games to go against each other. They could just call it Pokemon Palette and put Ash and Pikachu on the front and make the Nintendo Switch cover. Give it all 3 colors, Crystal, Gold, and Silver, and make it shiny and sparkly. People would buy it, bro. As long as they keep it at $60. Don't make it like $100. That would make me irritated. It would just take the fun out of it if it's too expensive. I can definitely see that happening. Pokemon Palette that would be hard, bro. So many kids would be playing that and wouldn't even know like where half of that stuff came from. Where all these different places. But yeah, that would actually be fire. I would buy that like right now. Now, of course, you have all the Pokemon ROM hacks. I've played so many Pokemon ROM hacks. Some of them I can't even remember because I used to play them as a child so much. They got like Pokemon Light Platinum. That was one I remember playing. Oh, excuse me. Pokemon Ruby Destiny was the one I remember playing the most. And if y'all don't know what Pokemon Ruby Destiny is, basically there's 3 games to it. There's Pokemon Rescue Rangers, Pokemon Ruby Destiny, A Life of Guardians, and Pokemon Ruby Destiny, Reign of Legends. The first one was Pokemon Ruby Destiny, Reign of Legends. It was created by this guy named Jagold. I actually met that guy on a plane once, which was crazy, because those ROMs were such a big part of my childhood. So it was crazy actually meeting the creator of those ROMs. But basically, Pokemon Ruby Destiny, Reign of Legends was like, it's like a hack of, what game is it a hack of? It's a hack of Ruby, of course, Pokemon Ruby. It's a hack of Pokemon Ruby, and basically you can get every Pokemon up to Sinnoh in it that's legendary, and they got the starters in it, and it takes like some of the sprites. So it takes like the guy with the Lucario, he's in the game. He's he's like cursed. Like in the middle of the game, he has like Shadow Lugia, and it's like controlling him or whatever. And I don't know why, but I was so obsessed with this game as a kid. I don't know why I liked it so much, but I think it was just because of the overload of content in the game that made it fun. Like I was just saying with our imaginary game that we could create, it's just the fact that you had so much content. Like you could sit there and catch all these legendaries, and then at the end you catch this angel god Pokemon called Angelian, which is like the creator of all the Pokemon. I remember I used to think Angelian was so cool. I was just like, whoa, it's so cool as a kid. But the game is fun. It's a Pokemon Ruby hack. It's kind of messy as a hack, but it's like I'm pretty sure the guy who made the hack was like 12 when he made it. So it's actually like amazing that he made it look so good. And you can actually buy cartridges of this game online. It's kind of funny. So it's, you could actually have like a whole uh, Game Boy case of fake games if you wanted to. But yeah, I remember playing that one really heavy. It was a ROM hack of Ruby. And then I remember playing Pokemon Rescue Rangers, and that game was a hack of Pokemon Ruby, but it was also like a mystery dungeon thing. It was weird. It was like he put all the sprites from Mystery Dungeon in the game, and it was like Mystery Dungeon, but the difference was it played like a normal Pokemon game versus Mystery Dungeon, because you know how Mystery Dungeon plays, where it shows the Pokemon and they're just like fighting. It doesn't go to like a battle sequence and go to a battle screen where it presses fight and all that. It just shows like the normal screen, like just like any other role playing game. But this version was a hack of Ruby, and he basically like mixed the games together where it's like it plays like it's Pokemon Ruby, but it looks like a Mystery Dungeon game. I remember playing that game a lot. It was super fun. The only thing I didn't like about that game was you had a set party that you could have, and you didn't have no Pokeballs to catch any other Pokemon, and you couldn't get into the PC. You know what I'm saying? To get other Pokemon out. So what I did in this game, I remember I hacked this game to be able to get Pokeballs so I could catch Pokemon. I remember hacking it and doing that, but I still had to beat like the base game to be able to go into the PC, which I always felt like was annoying. You should have just made it to where you could just go into the PC. But that game was fun, and basically that game is like it's like a prequel sequel at the same time. Like Pokemon Ruby Destiny Rhyme of Legends is supposed to be like the sequel of that game. Um, and the game has the villain of this game is Garatina, and it's Garatina, Chalmega, which is like a green looking Charizard legendary, Breatharina, which is like a duck looking dragon thing, and it's like purple and its face is split in half. Divide Hell or Devil Hell, which is like a worm thing. It was like the evil version of Angeline, and it was like the Guardian of Hell. And then Angeline was the Guardian of Heaven. And then it had who else did it have? I think that's it. Breatharina, Angeline, Devil Hell, Giratina. Oh, there was more. Rayquaza. Who else? I think there was one more. You could find it online. There's like one more legendary dragon that was in it. Um, but basically, those are like the villains at the end of the game. You fight all of them because they're being controlled by Garatina. Um, and it was just interesting. It's interesting that the first game he made, it was Shadow Lugia as the villain, and the second one it was Garatina, and then the Life of Guardians game. That one, like how he designed the games was like you had to low key cheat to get through some of the levels. It was like the Life of Guardians game was weird because you see a legendary at the beginning of the game, which if I remember, I think I hacked it to be able to catch it. I think I went back, restarted the game, hacked it to get Master Balls, and then caught that like legendary cat at the beginning of the game. There's like this legendary cat thing. And I remember catching that. And in the game, there's like this glitch where you get stuck in this one city and you can't go nowhere. It's like weird. So I remember like using walk through walls to be able to like go through the stuff and actually play the game. The game has a lot of bugs to it. And it's like really confusing and you don't really know where to go. Even with walkthroughs, I remember it being kind of confusing. But I like the game because he put a lot of different music in there. He has like Mega Man music in there. He has like Zelda music. It's like like that's one of the musics for like part of the game, which I thought was pretty cool. And then in this game, basically, you fight. What is it called? There was like a Pokemon he made. He used Divide Hell again, but he actually like updated the sprite so it looks like a snake still, but it looks better than the original sprite. And then he changed Angeline and how it looked. The whole style of it changed, so it looks more like a dragon, kind of like a little cute little baby dragon thing. And then Chalmega's in this game, the green looking Charizard that has Zapdos' battle cry. And there was the life, what was it, the life of the Guardians of Life, like creature that you fight. And I remember watching a video on it of like a guy playing it, and basically the only way you could like beat like one of the battles was to get two different Pokemon that had like Fissure and Sheer Cold to one hit KO the Pokemon, because the Pokemon were like that overpowered. They were like super OP. Um, but I remember this game looking a lot prettier because he had like took the sprites, um, from Emerald and stuff. Well, not Emerald. He took the sprites from. He used the sprites from Ruby, but he also used like the sprites from like what was it, Diamond and Pearl and stuff like that, and he used them for like Pokemon. So if you had like, for example, if you had like a Piplup, it actually looked like Piplup. Versus in Pokemon Ruby Destiny Rhyme of Legends, when he was like 13 and made the game, the sprites look really bad looking. But again, he was a little kid doing that. Oh yeah, and I remember in Pokemon Ruby Destiny Rhyme of Legends, the champion is Ash. I thought always, as a kid, I thought that was really cool. You know, what else? Those are some of my personal favorite Pokemon hacks because they have that nostalgia factor to them. Um, you had what else did I play? Pokemon Clover. That was one I recently played like a year ago. I played Pokemon Light Platinum. Um, there was more than that. I'm trying to remember though. What else did I play? There was another one I played. What was it? I played Radical Red, but it kept glitching up, and it was just getting on my nerves. And I was just like, screw this game. I don't know why it kept breaking. Like the file for it kept crashing on the VBA. So I just stopped playing it. I was like, whatever, bro. And then I used to play a ROM of Crystal version. I was like speed running the game, so I beat Crystal version in like 2 hours because I put it on like the fastest speed. Um, it was fun to play though still. What else did I play? It's crazy because I had all of that on my old tablet, and the old tablet I used was like a $20 tablet or like a $30 tablet. So I had so much stuff I put on it. It don't even work now, bro. Like you couldn't even turn it on and try to get it to work. It's not gonna work. But yeah, those are some of them I used to play. What other ones did I used to play though? I used to play them like to death. Like I used to have fun playing those Pokemon ROMs. I'm gonna start playing them again. I already downloaded the VBA, so I'm gonna start playing those again. But I'm trying to think of what other Pokemon games did I play that were ROMs. I can't think of any. I'm not gonna lie. But one thing is, I always like the ROMs. I don't want to say I like them better than the real games, but the ROMs brought me a sense of excitement that was just better than the normal games, just because it was something new and fresh. Because a lot of the Pokemon games are very samey. You literally are just getting three versions of the exact same game, and to get the full experience, you might as well just buy the middle game. Meaning the last one that comes out. Like for example, you should have just bought Emerald. You just buy Pokemon Black 2. You buy Pokemon Platinum. You buy Heart Gold. Like you know what I'm saying. You just get the best version with the most Pokemon on it. If you're not really wanting to have to put so much money down, it sucks because now a lot of these Pokemon games are extremely expensive if you try to buy them online. It'll be like $80 just to get Pokemon Fire Red. Like it's not even that serious. You can just get a fake version of Pokemon Red that will come with all the games on it. The only downside to it is you can't migrate Pokemon over to the DS because it's literally a fake version of the game. So it's not going to let you migrate because it's not going to register the fake game. But the cool thing about it is you can still trade the Pokemon on the fake cartridge to a real cartridge and then migrate from the real cartridge. And it's funny because you can migrate from a real Game Boy cartridge to a fake DS cartridge. It's kind of wild. I used to do a lot of stuff with the Pokemon games, so I know a lot about them. For example, I used to connect my, what was it? I used to trade my Pokemon to different games, but I didn't have two Game Boys. I used the GameCube to Game Boy connector to do all of that. Because I had a GameCube and I had Pokemon Yellow Darkness and I had Pokemon Coliseum. So I would trade like the Pokemon over from like Leaf. I would trade up the Pokemon over from like Sapphire version because that was the main one I played, the Sapphire and Leaf Green. So I would trade the Pokemon from Sapphire to Leaf Green. I remember I remember like you had to beat the game first to do that, which I always felt like that kind of just ruined the fun of it because it's like you have to beat the Sevi Islands first, the little story thing, to be able to trade to Pokemon Coliseum, and then you have to beat the normal story of Sapphire first to be able to trade Pokemon. So that kind of ruined the fun a little bit. Um, but I was playing all these games at the same time, so it was just I was so into it. But yeah, I remember trading my Pokemon from Sapphire onto my not Emerald, to my Leaf Green version. So I remember my party still. It was like the most legendary cheap party. I had Latios and Latios, which were hacked, that one of my friends gave me because he used a Game Shark, and he gave me two wild legendary Pokemon. So he gave me Latios and Latios. They're both hacked, but I loved them so much. They were like my favorite two Pokemon that I had as a kid. And now I have like three Latioses, I think. Yeah, I have like three of them now. But he gave me, it was Latios and Latios, Zapdos, Blastoise, and Swampert, and Rayquaza. That was my party. I still remember that party, bro, because it was just overpowered for no reason. And I remember trying to migrate them to, what was it, Pearl version, and it wouldn't let me. It was like pissing me off because it said that they had the Swampert had an HM move, and I tried to delete the Surf move, and it wouldn't let me do it. I was like, what the hell? Like I took it to the move deleter, and the move deleter was like, this move can not be removed or something instead, and I was like, what the hell? And I tried hella times to try to delete that off of there so I could migrate it, but it would not let me. And it made me so annoyed because I really wanted that whole party to be on my Pro version. But if I remember correctly, you couldn't migrate hacked Pokemon. I might be wrong about that, but I don't think if they were hacked, I don't think you could migrate them back in the day. But I remember trying to migrate the Swampert, but I also felt really weird about it too. I felt I felt like nervous because I knew that I couldn't. Once I migrated it, it wouldn't be able to go backwards. So it was like I remember being nervous about that, but I ended up not being able to even migrate it anyway because it would not take the surf off. I don't know why, but the move deleter would not take it off. I was like, bro, what is this crap? It was like pissing me off. But yeah. Oh, there's so much stuff I used to do with Pokemon. Like, god dang, I used to do so much Pokemon stuff. I used to battle with my homies all the time in Pokemon. When it comes to the DS, I remember I had got Heart Gold early, and I got it in Japanese, and I remember my friends tried to clown me for it for some reason. I'm like, why are y'all clowning me, bro? Like, just be happy that I got a game that makes me happy. Like, why are you guys trying to clown me? They're like, you should have just waited the 3 months, bro. It's coming out in 3, 4 months. I'm like, why are y'all hating? Bro, niggas used to hit on me for no reason. I used to be like, why are y'all so hateful, bro? Like, goddamn, like, just enjoy it. I enjoy it. Enjoy that your homie is happy and got the new video game. But anyway, I remember I had so many different hacked Pokemon, bro. Because I had an action replay for DS. I still have the DSi one, but I had like an older one. I don't know where that one went. That one's gone now, but I have the DSi one still. And I remember, bro, I used to know how to do. I used to just find out stuff. Like my Pokemon IQ was so high. So this is gonna be probably my last story. But basically, what I did was I cheated and got a shiny Deoxys, and then I went to the battle tower. Now you guys already know the clone glitch, but there's a sketch glitch. Basically, I had a Game Shark. You use walk through walls with the Game Shark. You go through the Battle Frontier door. Like how there's like the three people, and there's like the door in the back. You just walk straight through the wall and go through the door. And when you go through the door, it'll start you in a battle with a random trainer, and the first Pokemon that you have in your party will have sketch. I did this so many times, and I actually, you know what, you could migrate hacked Pokemon, because I migrated that hacked Deoxys from Emerald up to my Pearl. And I remember I taught that hacked Deoxys, I taught it Shadow Force, Judgment, Extreme Speed, and Dark Void. And its speed was like I think it was 411 or 412. So it always went first. So I used to just beat niggas with it all the time. It was the most hacked Pokemon I ever had. Shiny freaking Deoxys. It was speed form. And then I remember I had a Pikachu, and I taught it Fly and Surf. And then I had a Yan Mega, and I taught it Fly. That one I didn't migrate. That one I just used the teach Pokemon any move cheat with the actual replay. So I gave Yan Mega Fly, and then I had a Thunder Blastoise. So all its moves were Thunder moves. So it had, what was it? It had Zap Cannon, Thunder, Thunderbolt, and I think Volt Tackle. And I basically was just like, look, I have a Delta species Blastoise. I think I ended up trading it to one of my friends, and he like really liked it. I used to make Delta species Pokemon. Be giving them moves they're not supposed to know. But I remember doing that with the Blastoise. I really liked that Blastoise, but I ended up like giving it away or whatever because, you know, you just try like when you beat all of the games, you just be trying to find like different glitches and stuff that you can do. But this video is like an hour long, so I'm done. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Sorry for the sound of the dang chair. It just makes that sound, but there ain't nothing I can do about it. But I hope you guys have a good night. Peace and blessings. Take care.